What is going on, everybody? And welcome to the Yankees on Deck podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cunningham, and the Yankees get a much needed series win against the Texas Rangers at home at Yankee Stadium. And this was very much needed. I mean, this team, as we've all known, has struggled mightily at home this year. And after that Angels series flop, where they came out and they crushed it in the first game of that doubleheader, then they lose the next two. And for whatever problem, I hate doubleheaders because the Yankees never, it feels like, can never sweep them. And we saw that in the Angels series. And then Texas, we saw that the other day. The Yankees, bats came alive in game one. And then game two, Garrett Cole had 10 Ks. And then the bullpen just freaking blew it. And then you were coming in today and you didn't really know how to feel because half of our rotation has just not been good. And, we've had a lot of ups and downs. The bullpen of late has also been, I feel like, beat up. Like we're relying on them a lot and they haven't been good. And we're going to get into all the stats on that. And I'm going to back that up. And today, my goodness, the Yankees went for the series win. They got it, but considering they were up 6-0 at one point in this game, they win this one 8-7. They nearly blew it. Clay Holmes came in. He was able to get 2 outs, and then he just couldn't get that third out. He started walking people. He had a ton of 3-2 counts. Sure, you had a blue pit RBI, but just really, really concerning stuff, honestly. Because I mean, it's been an alarming trend with this team lately. Just the pitching has not been good like we've seen it, and I'm a little worried about that because we didn't get any pitching at the deadline other than 2 bullpen arms. We didn't get any starting pitching, and we're going to talk about it. So first off, I'm going to cover all 3 games, but I want to talk about the most recent game, obviously today's game, the series finale, the third game of the series against the Texas Rangers, who the defending World Series champs, who are not good this year. Okay, they have a 55-63 record. All right, they're pretty much, they're like, I believe, like 10 games out of a wild card. They're done. Like, they're not, most likely they are not going anywhere this year unless they make like a super strong like push, like winning streak within, like, I would say, like, now, they'd have to do that to have any chance of, making the playoffs. Right now, they're in third place at 55-63, 7.5 games out of first. And then if you look at, I was looking at the wild card standings earlier today, and Yankees and Baltimore are actually tied for first place. So they're both in that wild card conversation right now, being tied in the AL East. But you look at the AL wild card, you have, Baltimore and the Yankees have the same record, 70-49, 70 wins, 49 losses. Then you have Minnesota, that's half game up in that third wild card spot. Then you have Kansas City in the 4th spot at 65-53. And then behind them are the Red Sox. They're 3 games out. Seattle's also 3 out. Tampa's 5.5 out. And Detroit's 10 out. And Texas is 10 out. So 10 games out of a wild card. Yeah, it's not looking good. It looks like they're pretty much done, unless they make like some miraculous push for a playoff spot, like in terms of getting a winning streak going. It's not looking good for them. But defending champs anyway, they have some guys in that team that can mash. Corey Seager being one of them. You have Marcus Semien, Nate Lau, the power hitting lefty first baseman. So they got some guys on that team that can hit. They got a couple others, but they've dealt with a ton of injuries this year. Jacob deGrom being one of them, and they weren't able to really get anything going. The Yankees, on the other hand, for the most part, we've been pretty healthy this year. I mean, aside from, blips with Cole and then obviously Stanton going down and whatnot, we've had Judge, we've had Soto. We had Soto deal with, a couple injuries, but nothing too major. Yankees needed to take the series. They needed to show they're the better team. And they were able to do that today, but it was way too close of a game. Marcus Stroman got the ball, and Marcus Stroman, he's been roughed up here in the second half. He had a great first half of the year, but I want to read a stat to you guys on Marcus Stroman. But first, before I get to that, I want to talk about how the Yankees rotation as a whole has been severely underperforming. This tweet by a guy that covers the Yankees named Max Goodman. He states the Yankees starting rotation ERA since June 1st. Marcus Stroman 6.32 ERA, Carlos Rodon 5.83, Nestor Cortez 5.68, Garrett Cole 5.09, Luis Hill 4.31. And then he states Rodon and Hill have been better of late, which is true. Rodon's last three or four starts, he's been great. Same with Luis Hill. Stroman and Cortez, though, have not been good their last several starts. And you're also missing Clark Schmidt, too. He cites that as well. And Clark Schmidt is ramping up now. He's facing hitters, but then he's going to have to do like rehab games and whatnot. So he's not going to be back probably till the very end of the season. And this is coming off of the Yankees, according to the New York Post, having the best rotation ERA in the majors through June 14th at 2.77 ERA, earned run average. That was the best in Major League Baseball. And since then, they have had the highest rotation ERA since June 15th at 6.26. I mean, that is just freaking absurd. The fact that they went from number one to the absolute worst in terms of looking at ERA, and that's the most looked at stat for pitchers, for starting rotations, and obviously the bullpen too. In the bullpen, we saw that as well. We were one of the lowest ERAs for our bullpen. Then over the course of these last month and a half, 2 months, we've been one of the worst, and that's got to change. Obviously, look, I understand, like hitters, you have pitchers that go into slumps. It sucks. But the problem with this team is a lot of times it's not just one or two guys. It's like several key guys that are all slumping at once. I mean, we saw that with the lineup just a few weeks ago, and now we're seeing it with the rotation, and that's very concerning. So looking at all that, and then I want to pull up Marcus Stroman's stats. So Stroman, they actually skipped him his last start because he was working on some extra mechanical stuff in the bullpen. They think that's why he's been struggling a lot of late. But Stroman, who got the start today, coming into this game, has had a 6.87 ERA over his last 8 starts. And in just one of those games, he pitched 6 innings. That's critical right there because that means that's more work on the bullpen. If your starters aren't pitching deep into games collectively, 5-6 innings at least, it's more taxing on your bullpen. Your bullpen's going to get shot. And it's not good overall. So the fact that you have that double whammy right there where he's not pitching well and he's not pitching deep into games, he can't even eat them in the innings right now. That's concerning. And if you look at Marcus Stroman's stats from last year, he did get hurt when he was with the Cubs. He had like a quad issue, I believe, or something. He had like a internal muscle injury, not on his pitching arm. I forget. I think it was like inner quad or something like that. I believe, I forget. But at the second half of last year with the Cubs, he was one of the worst pitchers, if not the worst pitcher in baseball statistically. He was that bad in the second half. And now we're seeing something similar where in the second half, he's been that bad. He hasn't been good. And I'm going to get to it today. Shout out to him, though. He had a much better start today. I know it wasn't, he made some bad pitches. He didn't look like himself for the first half, but it was a much improved start compared to what we've seen from him his last several starts. So we'll take it. Hopefully he can build off of it. And Nestor Cortez, same thing too. Just to briefly go over that, Cortez has a 7.49 ERA over his last 7 starts, completing just 6 innings in one of them as well. So like same issue, guys. I mean, Cortez, I saw him in Philly. He was great in Philly, but then after that, he's just been pretty roughed up. And I don't know. It's concerning because these are 2 guys that are a part of our bullpen. They're like the 4 and 5 guys. So you need them. Or if this keeps up, then you can't, obviously you're going to have to make adjustments in October and all that. And it's really tough when the Yankees didn't go out and get any starting pitching. And it's tough too if you have some guys in the bullpen that are really slumping. So it's tough. It's really tough to navigate, and it is concerning considering, the Yankees had a 6-0 lead. The Yankees had a 6-0 lead in the 6th inning. Or no, sorry, I'm wrong on that, actually. The Yankees had a 5-0 lead in the 5th inning. I forgot to see here. The Rangers scored in the top of the 6th. Okay, but whatever. 5-0 lead. Then it was 6-1 in the bottom of the 6th. And then it just slowly unravels from there. Okay, look, Marcus Stroman, let's talk about him. I'm going to say he had a good day pitching, all right? He only got 1 strikeout, but he's not a strikeout pitcher to begin with. He gets ground balls. He's a sinker baller. He gets weak contact. That's his MO. But he went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run. That came in the second. Rangers started to hit him. They were able to get across an RBI hit. He did have 3 walks. I He was really shaky the first couple innings. A lot of 3-2 counts where he would get 2 strikes and he was nibbling. And, that's what Stroman does. He's a crafty pitcher. He works the corners and this and that. But if he's not really feeling it, you're going to see a lot of 3-2 counts, and that's where just things get kind of dicey, and you're just worried. So I was just kind of I was really nervous during those innings because he still didn't look like the Marcus Stroman that we saw at the beginning half of the season. And I just thought it was going to slowly unravel, but he kept it together. All right, you have to at least say he kept it together. It's a much improved start from his previous outings where he just totally was just not himself at all. He was terrible. So, and his ERA is not good. I mean, it's now up to 4.01, but it's down a little bit. I think it was like 4.10 or 4.20 coming into this game. So he got it down a little bit. But my goodness, I mean, how ERA over 4? I mean, that's how bad it's been for him these last several weeks, at least. And, it sucks, but you hope that this can be the one start, just like for a hitter. If he gets a couple hits one game, he has a good game, that it can right the ship because we're going to need him. We're going to need Marcus Stroman. I mean, Yankees almost had a deal for Jack Flaherty. They backed out apparently because of the medicals. Yankees didn't get another starting pitcher. I mean, they need these guys. They desperately need these guys. Pitching wins championships. I've said it time and time again. Yeah, sure, offense is great, but you don't have pitching. You're going to give it right back up. So let's just hope that Stroman can find it, and that this is the right step in the right direction, and we can move forward. And then Jake Cousins, who's been great for us. He's been one of our better bullpen arms of late. 30 years old. He was a waiver wire pickup. He's 1-0 this year, 2.35 ERA, 23 innings pitched. Excuse me. In his last 7 games, he's been great. 1.35 ERA in 7 games, 6 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, just 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. He's been fantastic. And then you look at the last 15, 30 game stretch too. So over a month sample size, 2.35 ERA. I mean, he's been great. He's stepped up, and he got in a little bit of a jam, when he came in, gave up a couple hits, but he got out of it and didn't give up any runs. He struck out the side. So he was huge. I mean, he was very, very big. He bared down and he struck out all 3 next batters he faced. So he was, I mean, props to him. The slider just looked devastating. That thing was breaking so much across the plate on the outer third. And, Rangers just kept going for it, and he kept attacking them and throwing it there. And that's what you got to do sometimes. You have to use the hitter's aggressiveness against them. And that's what he was doing. So that was huge. He was able to, bear down, get out of that inning. And, that was critical that he was able to do that and keep the game, keep the damage to only 1 run that inning. That was huge. And then you go to, the 7th inning, you have the 2 earned runs on not earned because they were errors. You have the 2 runs that come in because Jazz Chisholm boots a ball at third. Honestly, he should have that was Volpe's ball all day. But the problem is there's no communication on these plays. I'm like, what are we doing? There's 0 communication. Like, that's my issue right there. I understand you're going to make errors. It's fine. I'm really not going to get on Jazz's case like some people were on Twitter, because Jazz has been great for us. Hitting over 300. He's got, 5-6 home runs already as a Yankee. I think he's got more than that. He's got a ton right now. He's 2020 season. I mean, he's been spectacular for us. So I'm not going to rip him for finally making an error when he's playing a new position that's not his position. He's a center fielder and a second baseman, and he's done everything they've asked him to do at third base. And today he finally makes an error, but I really think the error was because that should have been Volpe's ball. Volpe was there. Volpe was already there to field it. He didn't have to move much as Jazz did, but I think Jazz wanted it. But it looked like there was no communication on that end of who was going to go for it, because they were both going for it at once. So, yeah, and then Gleyber Torres makes the next out, but then he gets in front of Volpe too. It's like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? You got to freaking communicate. Have to communicate. Ball, my ball. Like, these little things, man. Like, this is stuff, like, this is little fundamental shit that you just got to get right. That drives me crazy. Because it just, you watch the replays, it looks like there's no communication. Just like, oh, two guys going for it at once, and nobody's communicating. Nobody's like, come on, like, we got to have some baseball fundamentals here. It's like a ball hit in the outfield, and nobody communicates. Drives you freaking nuts. I mean, that's what Grisham did the other week with Judge. None of them were communicating on it, and Grisham dropped it. Like, come on, we need some communication here. We got to, this little fundamental crap we got to iron out. But, and then it was 6-3, and you're like, oh, shit, man. Like, here we go. Texas is coming back. And, Texas had a lot of good at-bats. I mean, they were getting a lot of walks in this game. But we'll get to that. Bottom of the seventh, Juan Soto hit a home run on a ball to right center field. Crushed it. It was his second home run of the game, his 30th of the year. I mean, this guy's been amazing. He's been everything we could have asked and more. They better extend him. Hits for power, hits for average. I mean, just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And how am I forgetting? Giancarlo Stanton. He had a 3-run home run, and this pitch was so low below the plate. This was in the bottom of the fifth. And this ball, it was off Rangers reliever, I believe, Jose Leclerc, who's not good. He's got like a 4-something ERA. But, Stanton fell behind in the count. He worked his way back. He was fouling off pitches. And then he goes and he hits this ball like a breaking ball that's well below the strike zone. And he just muscles it like a golf swing almost, hits it out. It's a freaking laser. And I was seeing people on Twitter saying like, oh, yeah, any other guy that hits that, like that's like just like a base hit through the left side. And it's like, it's true. Because like, imagine the power you need to take a pitch that low. You got to go watch the replay, the film. A pitch that low that he literally just golfs it out. And it's not like he golfs it out where it just makes it out. No, it was well out. It was a freaking laser beam home run. It was insane. Absolutely insane. It gave the Yankees a 5-0 lead. This coming with runners on second and third. There were 2 outs, and you were just hoping like, he could get a base hit, but he just freaking lasers this one. And Stanton, I have to give it to Stanton because he was great. He was above average hitter first half of the year. Then he gets hurt, another hamstring injury. But you look at his numbers. Last 7 games, hitting 296 batting average, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. In his last 15 games, 288, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs. He's been spectacular, guys. I mean, look, you will take what you can get from this guy because, yes, he's an injury-prone player. Yes, he's going to get hurt. Okay, our own GM said, yeah, it's only a matter of time this year before he gets hurt. It's going to happen. And, yes, that contract is a long contract, a lot of money, getting up there in age. Okay, sure, yes, all those are negatives. But the fact that this guy is, 34 right now, and he's putting up these numbers when he's healthy, that's huge. And you'll take whatever you can get from him. It's a bonus. It's a bonus because it's an awful contract, and he's getting up there in age, and the injuries have always been a problem. But you take what you can get. And, yes, I understand, too, the strikeouts and the streakiness and all that. That's who he is. That's who he is as a player. He's streaky. But you go look at his playoff numbers. He's got good playoff numbers. The guy, when he's on, he can carry the team right there alongside Aaron Judge. And now you got Juan Soto. And I'm telling you, too, right now, I mean, it's baseball. You guys, you have hot and cold stretches. But I'm telling you right now, you insert him in that lineup behind Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, especially with what Austin Wells is doing right now at the plate. That's a dangerous freaking lineup in October. And that's if all things go right. That's if everything clicks and Stanton stays healthy and he's hitting and you have Judge and Soto doing their thing and then you have Wells doing his thing. People were upset too, like Stanton batting cleanup today. Oh, no, why would you move Wells out of there? I don't really care. You can mix and match Wells and Stanton between 4 and 5 because they're both hitting right now. They're both hitting. So regardless, you need that protection behind Judge and Soto. And if you're getting that from both those guys, that's huge. That's absolutely massive. And that could really help this team make a playoff push. And they're going to need it because that's been the biggest thing. Like, oh, yeah, let's just, pitch around Judge and Soto, and then everybody else is an easy out. Like, that was our problem for a lot of this year, a lot of games, 60, 70 games. But you look at these other guys that are starting to produce, if we can continue to have that, Stanton, Wells, hopefully Torres can, continue to find his way out of it, then you have a decent lineup going into October. You don't just have two guys that are doing everything, because that's not the way baseball is built. It's not the way it should be ran. Look, and I'm going to talk about the whole Judge MVP case and everything, but Judge last year, the one-man wrecking crew, him and Torres are the only guys doing anything. He goes down, the rest of the team goes down. That just can't happen, all right? It's baseball. It's not the NBA, all right? It's a team sport. You collectively need a lot of guys contributing, doing things at once, and you say the same thing on the pitching side too. And, I'm just really, I'm really thrilled, and I just hope, fingers crossed, Stan can stay healthy as long as he can. I'm not expecting it. Okay, I'm used to him dealing with injuries a ton. We all expect it, but whatever you can get from him, thank you. It's awesome. So anyway, to move on from that, Corey Seager had a good day for the Rangers. Couple of hits, 2 for 5 RBI. Josh Smith for the Rangers, leadoff hitter. He was DH today, but I believe he's like an infielder, second baseman. He was actually a guy the Yankees traded in the Joey Gallo trade. He's been really good for them. 273 batting average, 12 home runs. He's a left-handed hitter, 27 years old. Really speedy guy, too. They had Marcus Semien. He was 0 for 4. Josh Jung, their young rookie third baseman, was 1 for 5. With the, I think, no, that wasn't him that had the blue pit. Someone on this team had a blue pit off Holmes that brought in a run. I forget who that was when I was watching the game. Oh, yeah, it was Adolis Garcia. He was 1 for 4. That guy's massive. Yeah, so the Rangers, they put together a lot of good at-bats, long at-bats, fouling off pitches, generating their walks. Because when we got to the bullpen, I mean, outside of, if I'm being completely honest, I'm watching this game, outside of Jay Cousins, it was a bit shaky. It was a bit shaky. Tommy Kahnle came in. I believe that was when the error happened with Jazz. 2 runs came in. So that wasn't on him, though, but it was still like a bit of a shaky inning. Did have a strikeout, did give up 2 hits. So he was scuffling out there a little bit. But the inning should have been over. I mean, there was 2 outs, ground ball to the left side. That play should have been made. But then Leiter Jr. comes in, and he gives up 2 home runs, same inning, in two-thirds of an inning. They take him out. He had a walk, too. Did have 2 strikeouts, but 2 home runs he gave up. That was freaking awful. And that hurt even more because they gave up, Rangers got 2 runs off a freaking error that they shouldn't even gotten, first off. So that hurt. So then you're just, then you're doing the tallies here, and it's like, all right, Yankees were up 5-0. Now it's 6-1, and then 8-4. And then the Yankees get up like 7-1, 8-1. Then it's 8-4, and then we add after the error, but then the Rangers continue to crawl back into this game. And then in the 8th, they got 3 runs, just Leiter giving up home runs. He had an awful day, awful day. And then they had to bring in Clay Holmes early to get 4 outs in the bottom of the 8th. He was able to get the Yankees out of that. Clay Holmes had, I think it was, I forget the play on that. But he was able to get the next hitter. He was able to get that next hitter out to get out of that inning, that jam, the 8th inning. Let me see. I think I stepped away from the TV for a minute that game, but I have the key parts of the game in front of me. Oh yeah, it was a ground out. Second baseman, Lodi Taveras. Clay Holmes got the ground ball, got out of it. Weak ground ball. I remember that. So that was good. And then you were just hoping, all right, hopefully Clay Holmes has it today, right? Hopefully he can come back out and have a quick 1, 2, 3. And then, then we go to we go to the ninth, right? And, Clay Holmes, he gets 2 strikeouts. And, you're thinking, like, all right, like, we got this. You got Simeon, top of the ninth, to strike out. Or no, sorry, wait, I looked at the wrong thing. On that ground out, I don't know. I don't know what happened with. I was looking at the wrong thing. Oh yeah, Corey Seager grounded out to Volpe. That's what Rip Holmes got. My apologies, but it was a ground out. Who cares anyway? I was looking at the wrong thing. But I remember that. It was a weak ground ball. Holmes got the weak ground ball in that 8th inning. That one batter to get out of it to save Leiter. All right, then you go to the top of the ninth. The Yankees didn't do anything on offense in the bottom half of the 8th. Top of the ninth, first 2 batters, strikeouts. Gets Simeon, gets Jung, both strikeouts swinging. And then he walks Wyatt Langford. There's 2 outs. Yankees, mind you, Yankees are up 2 runs, 8-6. He walks the guy to first, and then you bring up the next batter. He could be the tying run because he could hit a 2-run home run, right? And that's where I just didn't understand it, because then obviously, the Rangers are going to bring in, have that guy steal, have that guy running, try and get something going. And then, because they have Nathaniel Lowe coming up, power hitter for them. He hit a home run earlier in the game off Leiter. He walks. So now a home run could give the Rangers the lead. And I'm just sitting there shaking my head like, oh my gosh, we have 2 outs. And we had 2 outs and nobody on. Attack the hitter. Attack the hitter. The Clay Holmes does this all the time. He gets walk happy. He can't find the play. He starts walking people. All these people defending Clay Holmes because he induces a lot of ground balls. Okay, but he walks a shit ton of batters. He's constantly walking people. He has it 1 minute where he's getting strikeouts, where he's getting ground balls, and then the next minute he can't find the plate. So I'm sorry, but the guy is just. I was singing his praises at the beginning of the year. He was, didn't blow a save for how many game stretch. It was crazy, but it's just too much, man. It's too inconsistent. The command is too inconsistent. He had 2 outs. He struck out the first 2 batters, and then he walks the next 2 batters. Then the Rangers bring in a pinch runner, Ezekiel Duran, and and then Adolis Garcia gets the RBI hit. Because I'm pretty sure Duran stole second base or third base. So they had first and third. Then Garcia bloops one in for an RBI hit. And I know all the Clay Holmes defenders can be like, well, Garcia didn't hit that ball hard. Well, guess what? If Holmes didn't walk the next 2 batters after getting 2 strikeouts, then this base hit wouldn't have mattered. This base hit probably wouldn't have mattered. So, or it wouldn't even happen. Go after the hitter. You had 2 strikeouts. If it's 6-8 and you give up a home run and nobody's on base, you make a stupid pitch. Well, guess what? You still have the lead. You're still up by 1 run. But you start walking the world after getting 2 outs already, 2 strikeouts. Then you have little shit like this that happens. You have little crap like, blue pits or whatever in the world that they can get into play to bring in runs. That's what's going to happen. And Adolis Garcia, he's a professional hitter. The guy, he's a massive dude. He can hit home runs. But what he's trying to do, he's just trying to put the ball in play. Get something going. They have runners in scoring position. There's 2 outs. And Clay Holmes, I'm sorry, you can't be walking guys. With 2 outs, you got 2 strikeouts. But he does this all the time. It's like there's hardly a game where he doesn't get into a jam himself. And everybody's like, everybody that defends him, it's like, oh, well, the ground balls, he gets weak contact, this and that. Well, the one thing you're not looking at is how many wild pitches he throws, the command, how many walks he gives up. You know what? Then the ground ball, lucky hits or whatever, you know what? Maybe that wouldn't have hurt him so much if he doesn't walk so many guys. But, then I got to hear this, oh, well, that's sinker ballers, blah, 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 blah. Fine, but he's not a closer. He's not a closer. All right. And yes, he was the closer at the start of the year and for the first half because he was closing games and he was great. But now guys lose their closer spot all the time. That's what happens. You're not going to keep a guy that's a closer that's blown the most saves in Major League Baseball over like the last month and a half. Like guys get removed from the spot. It's a spot you have to continue to earn. And that's why I'm really not big on closers because, look, part of us, like I've said, we've always been spoiled with Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer in MLB history. And we're not going to ever see a guy like that probably ever again. So we get spoiled and we see a closer come in that blows a few games, has a bad, couple rough starts, stretches, and we start, getting upset and this and all that. And that's why I'm just honestly, my whole philosophy since Rivera, since we're never going to see a closer like that again, is to have it closer by committee. And what does closer by committee means? It essentially means you don't have a definitive closer, and the ninth inning is up by grabs for anyone that's A, available, and B, is the best guy going right now. Like the guy that's having the best stretch pitching out of our bullpen. That's the way it should be. That's the way I've always felt it should be since Mariano left. Because at the end of the day, having a reliever, thinking of a reliever in terms of value, they're constantly up and down, up and down. It kind of reminds me of like the stock market, right? I'm no big stock market guy or anything, but that's stocks are constantly going up, they're going down. That's the way relievers are. You know what I mean? Because they come in pressure situations. They're not pitching. They're pitching a couple times a week. At minimum, and sometimes they're expected to come in. As a setup guy or eat multiple innings, and it's a high pressure job. It's not like being a starting pitcher where it's like, all right, you go throw your 5, 6, 7 innings, then you get 5 days off. But being a bullpen guy is a little bit more erratic. There's no set consistent schedule all the time. So it's tough, and it's up and down. It's up and down. So the best way to approach that, in my opinion, is closer by committee. You go to the hottest hand. Whoever in that bullpen is doing the best job that you could say, yeah, I'm confident. It's like, it's like dealing with hitters, honestly, too. If a guy is in a hot streak, you're not going to go sit him on the bench. You're going to keep playing him. Maybe you're going to move him up in the order. Like they did with Volpe at the beginning of the year. He was doing really good, and they moved up the leadoff spot. Yes, I know that hurt him, but I'm just talking about situations and using what you have to your advantage. And if that guy is available and that is the best arm going right now, he should be pitching the 9th inning. And if you think, oh, it's going to get in his head, he's coming in the 9th. How do you know that? How do you know that? Talk to the guy. A lot of these pitchers, they come in, and they have their routines and they have what they got to do. But that's also that could be a confidence booster too. You could be like, hey man, you're doing really good right now. We want to, hey, if the time comes on this particular day and you're available, we're going to throw you in the 9th inning. Are you okay with that? Guy might be like, yeah, sure, I'm cool with that. What do you have to lose? Clay Holmes, yeah, I'm tired of this. Nope, he's our closer regardless. No, like that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. I know Aaron Boone will always defend his players and always speak positively of them. I'm used to that at this point. But it should be closer by committee. You're trying to win games, critical games, after in a tight division that's now tied again because Baltimore lost today to Tampa. So the Yankees and Orioles are both 70 and 49. These games matter. Every game counts, and it's the same thing in the playoffs. So why not give yourself the best chance to win and put the guy that's doing the best in that position in the 9th inning? There's no other way it should be said. Anyway, all right. I'm moving on from that. I'm going to quickly recap the other 2 games because this is a series recap episode. And then I want to briefly talk about the Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. MVP race because it's not even close. But I'm going to cover that, okay? But let's jump to – all right. So, yeah, the Angels series was a disaster, but I was super busy with work and, just really exhausted and not feeling the greatest. So I haven't filmed these podcast episodes in a while. I apologize. And same thing with the Instagram. I've been kind of slacking on that, but it's just been a really kind of hectic week. But I'm good now. I'm back. So Friday, the Yankees opened up the Rain. Oh no, sorry. Wait, no. Friday was postponed because of rain. Yankees had a few rainouts, this past week because of the weather. The weather was awful. So Saturday they had a doubleheader. My apologies. Saturday, they the first game they did really well. They won that game 8-0, 8-zip. Carlos Rodon, he got the ball, and since Carlos Rodon's like last 4 starts, he's been spectacular. Since that, if you remember that Boston series right before we went to Philly, he was spectacular in that game, and since then he's been really good. And I'm gonna pull up the stats on him quick. Uh, and this is another guy. He's had up and down year. Some really good stretches, some very very bad stretches, but overall on the year, not like anything. If you look at the overall numbers, you're like, oh wow, this guy isn't having a great year for what we're paying him. 13-7, 4.18 ERA in 24 games, 131 innings pitched. But you look at what he's done his last 7 starts. He's 4-2, 3.5 ERA, 37 2/3 innings pitched, 51 strikeouts. So he's been a lot better. And you look at what he did in this game against the Rangers. The first game of the series, first game of the doubleheader. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 3 hits. Did have 5 walks, which is pretty concerning, a little bit concerning. But he had 6 strikeouts. He didn't give up any earned runs. Gave the team every chance to win that game, and he did. He was solid. He was solid. But the walks at times, it's an issue. I mean, we've talked about that too with Stroman, but didn't give up any earned runs, 6 strikeouts. An impressive start, an impressive stretch of starts from him consistently, back after back after back after back. So I like that. Ron Marinaccio, who's been like the 27th man, they've been calling him up and down, up and down, up and down from AAA to the bigs, and like a fill-in bullpen guy, which I kind of feel bad for him because they've been doing this like every week because I guess he has a ton of options left. And which, I mean, that sucks for the player, honestly, because that guy's been up and down like crazy. But he went 2/3 of an inning in game 1 of the doubleheader, gave up 1 hit, had 3 strikeouts, which good job for him. Then he got sent down back after the game. I feel bad for that guy. That's got to be really tough. But then Tim Hill came in after him, pitched an inning, gave up 1 hit, no earned runs. So that he was good, and that was the game. Yankees win it 8-zip. And they had Rodon, and then they only had to use Marinaccio and Tim Hill at the bullpen, which is nice. You give some of those other guys in the bullpen a rest. You win this one, very easy game, clean game, 8-zip, 8-0. You like it. You really like it. Gleyber Torres in the bottom of the first had an RBI hit to make it 1-0. Then bottom of the third, Austin Wells had a double with runners on first and second. 2-run double to make it 3-0. That guy has just been amazing at the plate. And we continue to sing his praises lately. I mean, he's really turned around his season. First half, got off to a really slow start, was hitting like barely over 200, and at some points under 200. And now he's really picked it up. And he's deserved every bit of playing time. He's really taken advantage of hitting cleanup, taking his walks when he needs to. Great eye at the plate. Defense is getting better. When Jose Trevino comes back, whenever that is, there is no reason to do 50-50 splits anymore at catching for these guys. Absolutely no way. Austin Wells, he's playing his butt off. He's playing incredibly well. He's running away with being the starting catcher now and in the future at 24 years old. Now 25. He just turned 25. But this is his time. He's in 251 batting average, which is incredible considering the first half is 8 home runs, 33 RBIs, and you look at last 7 games, he's hitting 346 batting average, 346. Last 7 games, last 15, he's got a home run, 12 RBIs, 339 batting average. Over the last month, overall, he's been hitting over 300 with 5 home runs, 20 RBIs, 15 walks. I mean, that's incredible. He's taking his walks. he is really blossoming into a incredible left-handed hitter in our lineup. Really, really, really solid hitter. He's taking his walks. I mean, you watch his at bats too. He's not afraid to take his walks from the cleanup spot, and that's huge. I mean, for a young player to not get over aggressive and chase out of the zone, that's massive. That's very, very big. So credit to Austin Wells for really turning around his season here in the second half. He's been incredible in the second half for the most part. Jazz Chisholm Jr., another guy. After Wells in the bottom of the third, Jazz Chisholm in the bottom of the eighth, he had a home run to make it 8-0 Yankees. Sorry, I did skip a little bit of scoring there because I'm just rehashing the key highlights of the game. Yankees did a lot of scoring in this game, but Jazz Chisholm had a couple hits. Ben Rice, he's been scuffling a bit. He got the start today. Did have a strikeout, and was 1 for 4, but he's been scuffling a little bit. And he's young. I'll give him some time. Aaron Judge had a double in the bottom of the fourth to make it 4-0. Austin Wells then had another RBI hit, RBI single to center field to make it 6-0. Yankees bats were just incredible today. Oswaldo Cabrera had a double. Whenever he's been playing, he's been really heating up as well. Had a home run in the Angels series. I really wish this guy could play more, but I do kind of get it because they're Gleyber Torres, for whatever reason, they're going to keep playing him. And Oswaldo, he's mainly been playing third base, and the Yankees have put Jazz at third base. So it's kind of a conundrum there because Jazz Chisholm's been doing great, and Cabrera's been mainly the mainstay third baseman. So it's like you're kind of at odds. Like, can't bench Jazz. Obviously, he's been hitting over 300 as a Yankee. He's been killing it. So yeah, I mean, you're in that kind of dilemma. Then Soto had a forced ground out in the fifth to make it 7-0. And then, like I said, Jazz hits another home run, a solo shot to right center to make it 8-0. Jazz Chisholm, my gosh, he's been incredible. Last 7 games, 3 home runs, 3 RBIs, 286 batting average. first time in his career he's reached 2020 season, which means he has 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases in a year, and that's a very impressive feat. That's very good. Anthony Volpe did that last year. He's got 255 batting average, and he's really heat up since becoming a Yankee. He's got, I believe, 7 home runs now as a Yankee, and he had a couple hits in today's game. I mean, he's been incredible. He's been awesome. Props to Jazz. And he changes the energy. He's been stealing his bases. He brings athleticism. He brings speed. He's been hitting. It looks like he's truly embraced being a Yankee. He loves it here, and hopefully we can win a ring for him this year. That'd be awesome. Anthony Volpe continues to struggle a bit, after getting off hot stretch post All-Star break. Now he's kind of slumping a little bit. Last 7 games, he's hitting 0.69 batting average, just 2 hits and 29 at bats, 11 strikeouts. That's very, very concerning. Hopefully he can snap out of it though. I still have high hopes for Volpe. He won a Gold Glove last year. He's legit over there at shortstop. He struggled with the bat again today, but he had some nice plays at shortstop. I mean, he's got good range, good arm, good speed. You just hope he can get out of this other slump. So, yeah, that's basically that for the first game. And then the second game, the Yankees honestly should have won. And that was a heartbreaking game because Garrett Cole was amazing. Probably his best start of the year. And the Yankees go to the bullpen, and the bullpen just absolutely shits itself. Looking at this game, Garrett Cole went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, 1 earned run, had 2 walks, but 10 strikeouts. He was great. A lot of people were upset that the Yankees pulled him in the sixth inning. Uh, what I'm gonna say is, yeah, sure, that sucks because it's like a guy's rolling like that. He has 10 punchies. You want to let him keep going, but look, Garrett Cole is our ace. He's our workhorse, and he's getting up there in age. He's already, I believe, he's 33. Yeah, he's 33 now. Uh, he had the arm issues coming into this year, the elbow issues. You just don't want to, have that guy consistently throwing over 100 pitches. So I get it. Look, I get pulling him when he did. I'm really not mad at Aaron Boone for that because we need him for the long haul. We really do. Uh, if he goes down, I mean, look, we had to deal with that the first half of the year, not having him, and we got by. But can we get by without him for an entire year, for the rest of the year and the playoffs? I don't think so, especially with our struggles late in our starting rotation with Nestor, Stroman. Rodon has been up and down. So I, I keep Garrett Cole healthy. I mean, we're paying him a lot of money, and this is what this is what we need. We need starts like this. We also need him to stay healthy. So we can't. So I do understand, taking him out probably from a conservative standpoint of just, not wanting to use him too much and, risk another injury. Like, you just want to be more cautious. And he's getting up there in age, So I get that. And the Rangers, I mean, once Cole came out, right? Then we went to Luke Weaver, and my gosh, he got absolutely just crushed. Third of an inning, gave up 4 hits, 5 earned runs, had 1 walk, but boy, they did damage off him. Uh, so it's there was a force play that tied the game that the Rangers challenged on Leonardo Tavares base hit to right field that tied the game. And then Carson Kelly walked. Corey Seager hit a 3-run home run. So it was bad. It was really bad. So what are you gonna do? I mean, you have days where the bullpen implodes. I mean, it's just what happens. It sucks. They could have had this game. Could took Cole out and could still been in it, but the bullpen just had an awful day. Michael Tonkin came in, gave up 3 earned runs. You had Stanton in the bottom of the 8th, hit a 2-run home run to make it 9-3. But it's like, all right, 9-3, still down 6 runs. So, and then Jazz had a home run in the bottom of the 8th as well, to cut the deficit by 1, make it 9-4 Texas. But again, at that point, it was too late. Like you're gonna have these moments. It is what it is. I'm not gonna. It sucks, but unfortunately, our pitching has been a major concern over the last several weeks, month, and they got to figure it out. The bullpen and the starting pitching. And look, obviously, understandably, you're going to have these stretches. I mean, we had this with the hitting. It was literally vice versa not that long ago, where it was our pitching that was dominant and our hitting couldn't do, a lick. So you're going to have it, but they got to figure it out because the depth is wearing a little bit thin because they didn't go out and get starting pitching. They only got like 2 bullpen arms, so that's not good. So they need to reset and refigure it out, and that's what they got to do. So at the end of the day, though, a win's a win. In terms of this entire series, winning a series, you would have liked to sweep the doubleheader off after coming off a clean 8-0 shutout victory. But, like Paul O'Neill said in the booth, it's very hard to sweep doubleheaders. It's a long day. You're at the ballpark, extra early and 2 games back to back. It's a lot, and the heat, it's hot out or dealing with the conditions. It's not easy. So I get that part of it, but it just sucks when that game looked like it was in our rearview mirror because Cole was dominant. And look, and Cole's been another guy too who he's had his up and downs this year, and He's had to ramp up, and I still don't fully believe he's fully ramped up yet when you look at the bulk of his starts, and the consistency hasn't really been there too much like we saw Cy Young Cole in the years prior. But, maybe he's still ramping up, so it's fine. So we just got to hope for the best, and that's it. But I have a few minutes, so I want to go over this MVP debate. Judge today hit his 42nd home run, his 299th career home run. And a tweet was put out a week ago by Brian Hoke, Yankee reporter, who said, this is a week ago, so August 4th, he said Aaron Judge has 298 career home runs, and he will soon become the fastest player to reach 300 in terms of games played. Ralph Kiner holds the current record at 1,087 games. Today's Judge is 945th. So Judge is clearly going to break that record, because this tweet was like I think barely under a week ago. And I remember posting it on Yankees on Deck channel. Judge is going to break that record, meaning he's the fastest player, right-handed hitter ever to reach 300 home runs in baseball history. And that means something. And you look at what he's doing again this year. I mean, he's going to at least, even if he slows down, he's going to finish with around probably 55 home runs. So he's approaching what he did, during the 62 year in 2022. I mean, it's so impressive what he is doing. Again this year, 42 home runs, 106 RBIs, 136 hits, 328 batting average, on base percentage of 462, an OPS that's ridiculous, 1,161. I mean, it's just absurd. It is absolutely absurd. And look, Bobby Witt Jr. is a heck of a player, all right? But if you look at the breakdown, okay, and this is tweeted out by Sportsbook Review, the stat comparison as of August 9th. So Judge now has, I believe it's 133 hits now. So this isn't fully updated. But the last updated comparison was August 9th. And you look at the slash lines, Judge has a higher base percentage, a higher OPS, a higher WRC plus. Bobby Witt has more hits, but he also has I believe he's got more at bats. He has I just saw the stat too. He has a few dozen more at bats than Aaron Judge. So he has more hits, sure. All right, but he has 50, 60 more at bats at least. I saw that stat on Baseball Reference. Bobby Witt has, more steals, 25 steals. He can run, higher F WAR. Judge has a higher B WAR. So people want to look at the stat comparison and be like, oh yeah, it's close. Judge leads in 4 categories and Bobby Witt leads in 5 when you look at base running and all that crap. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Bobby Witt Jr. is a nice all-around player, but this is trying to go back to the 2017 argument with Altuve over Judge. When Judge is literally the best power hitter, the best pure hitter, in my opinion, humbly, when he's getting intentionally walked like crazy, he's getting Barry Bonds treatment since Barry Bonds, and Barry Bonds was a cheater. So when you put all that together, it's Aaron Judge's MVP. Bobby Witt Jr. is a heck of a player, right? He's an amazing all-around baseball player. He's the best player on the Royals since George Brett. I understand all that. The guy can run. The guy can steal bases. He can field. He can do a little bit of everything. I get that. But Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball because he is the most feared hitter since McGwire, since Bonds, since Sosa. You have not seen another player in baseball get intentionally walked more since Bonds. And you got to go back decades. So enough of, Bobby Witt's the MVP. Bobby Witt's the MVP because he can do it all. No, this is this Ohtani crap. I think people get tired of the same guy dominating the league and wanting to win MVP, that all of a sudden you have this young kid and Bobby Witt comes up and they want to give him the MVP, either because they have Royals bias or because they're just sick and tired of Judge running away with it. This is Judge's MVP. He is running away with this thing. He has 42 home runs, and we are in the second week of all. I mean, we are heading towards the second week of August. We still have all of September, people. He has over 20 more home runs, a way higher OPS. Judge has over 100 RBIs. He has over 20 RBIs more than Bobby Witt. He has 105 RBIs. You know, Judge will knock in at least 130, 140 RBIs. That's absurd. You want to guess how many Bobby Witt has? Bobby Witt has 87. Judge has a higher WAR. Now they say that's split between Baseball Reference and Fangraphs. Guess which one is more reliable? Baseball Reference. The SABR, the Society American Baseball Research Institute, that is very, well regarded as like the sabermetric school. They say Baseball Reference is like the number one stat machine. So Baseball Reference is right. Judge has a greater WAR. He has more RBIs, higher on base, higher slugging, higher OPS, higher OPS plus. It's Judge's MVP. It is Judge's MVP. When you have the most feared hitter putting up the best stats since Barry Bonds, doing it clean, that is your MVP. And most valuable player, for the people that want to make the argument that, oh, well, Bobby Witt Jr. is more valuable to his team. Really? Look at the Yankees in 2023 when Judge went down. The entire team collapsed and missed the playoffs for that reason. Everybody else stopped hitting. Will we see that with the Royals if Bobby Witt, if somehow, God forbid, Bobby Witt Jr. got hurt and went down? Possibly, but we don't know that for sure. We know that with Aaron Judge. It's not even a debate. Shouldn't even be up for discussion, honestly. Aaron Judge is your AL MVP 2024. Book it. Stupid conversation to even have. He's putting up nearly identical numbers to what he did in his 62 home run season in 2022. So it's not even up for discussion. And this whole debate, and dude, Bobby Witt has like 50, 60 more at bats this year right now than Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge has driven in still over 25 more runs, higher OPS. Like, it's not even close. Like, where Bobby Witt leads, he leads by like a much smaller margin compared to where Judge leads. It's by it's not even close. It's not even close. And all you got to do is look at the stat comparison. And if Judge loses, it's bullshit. It would be like the 2017 Judge versus Altuve all over again, which was BS. And oh yeah, Altuve cheated that year too. Yeah, Judge didn't have trash cans to listen to, trash can banging. So anyway, that's all I'll say. If you want to disagree with me on that because you're a Yankee hater or a Royals fan, go ahead. But the stats show Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball. He's the most valuable to his team. That's a given fact. That's not biased. He is the AL MVP. Book it. That's it. That's all I'm going to have on that discussion. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I will see you all very soon. Let's go, Yankees.